Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Chef Jonah back today, and I'm going to show you how to make homemade pizza. For the recipe, you will need 1 packet of active dry yeast, a teaspoon of sugar, 1 cup of warm water, which needs to be about 110 degrees, and I'll tell you how to measure that if you don't have a thermometer, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of salt. So the first thing we have to do is get the yeast activated. Yeast usually comes in little foil packets at the supermarket, or you can get a little jar like this. Most recipes tell you need 1 packet of yeast or 2 packets of yeast. A packet of yeast is about 2¼ teaspoons, so I'm gonna measure out 2¼ teaspoons. The first thing I need to do is take a cup of warm water, which I'm going to get right now. Okay, the way I test it is I run the water until it's just barely warm. So when you put your finger in it, it shouldn't feel hot. It should just feel slightly warm. And that's usually about, because your body temperature is 98.6 degrees and you want 110 degrees. So if you're sticking your finger into water that's 110 degrees, it will feel slightly warm. So I'm pouring this in, and I'm gonna add my 2¼ teaspoons of yeast to this. And then we're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes, and that will let the yeast activate. So you'll have a little puffiness to your pizza dough. So this is 2¼ teaspoons of yeast. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Okay, we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes and then we'll come back and have another look. Hello, we're back. After the yeast and the water have been sitting for 10 minutes, it is now creamy looking. Let's see if I can show you what it should look like. Hopefully that will give you an idea. Now we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients to the bowl and mix up our pizza dough. So first, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. One, 2 teaspoons. Then we need 1 teaspoon of sugar. Just white sugar is what they're looking for. A teaspoon of salt. And now we need 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. It's 1 cup. 2. And a half. Then I'm going to use a wooden spoon to mix it all together. And once it's all combined in your bowl, we're going to turn it out onto a floured surface, which I'm going to set up in a second. And we're gonna knead the dough a little bit, and then we're gonna form it into our pizza. I'm probably gonna make 2 or 3 pizzas out of this, smaller sized pizzas. In the meantime, you wanna make sure that your oven is preheated to 450 degrees, so you want it pretty hot. Okay, so I'm starting to get a little bit of a dough here. You want to make sure you get all the ingredients out of the bottom of the bowl. Okay, and then I'm going to turn out, put a little flour on my counter. And we're going to finish the dough off on the counter. We're going to make sure we get everything out of the bowl. And then you just want to sort of mix it together until you have a nice dough formed. This is a really easy dough. So all you have to do is get the ingredients mixed together and make sure that the yeast activated in the warm water. And then you can form your pizzas. So you want to just knead it, move it around on the counter until it's kind of smooth. When I first turned it out, I could feel it was a little grainy, like I could feel that it wasn't well mixed together. But now it's really starting to come together. And I've got a nice ball of pizza dough. This you can wrap, you can put it in a bowl and cover it with saran wrap and put it in the fridge if you want to use it at a later time, or if you want to use some of it now and some of it later. It'll keep in the fridge for a few days wrapped up tightly. Might grow in the fridge because the yeast makes the dough rise. Okay, so I think I'm gonna make 2 pizzas out of this. So I'm gonna cut it in half. Then I'm gonna roll this into a ball. And then I wanna try and form it into my pizza. So I'll get a little more flour on the counter. And then I want to start working the dough around and around. I'm not sure you can see very well here. But you want to really start to stretch the dough out. And get yourself a good round pizza. It's gonna take some working. I usually push my fingers into it, try and get it going. Then you can lift it up like you see them do in the pizza shops. And you can stretch it. And you gotta kind of work at it for a while. Be careful not to get any tears in it. Like I can see one area that's really thin right there. So I have to be careful about that. And then when you have it to your desired thickness, I like to get mine as thin as I can, you can put it on a sheet pan. I'm gonna do mine a little differently because I have a pizza stone. It's like a piece of ceramic stone in my oven right now heating up. And I am going to put the pizza directly on the pizza stone. So what I'm doing now is sort of going around and making a circle, which is going to be where the crust is sort of pushed up a little to sort of keep the ingredients inside the pizza. Okay, so now I've got the form of my pizza. And I'm going to transfer it onto a wooden paddle that I will use to finish putting the sauce and the cheese on and whatever toppings you want. And then I will put it into the oven. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I now have my pizza on a paddle and I put a little semolina flour on it, and I want to make sure that it moves around because I'm going to slide it off here onto my pizza stone in the oven. See if I can show you guys what the pizza stone looks like. Hopefully you got a view of that. Okay, so now I'm gonna put just a little sauce on. You can use your favorite tomato sauce. I made my own. You don't need too much sauce. And we'll mix it around a little on our pizza. Okay, so now we have our pizza sauce on. I'm using a fresh mozzarella cheese, which I've cut into pieces. So I'll just put a few pieces on. And then I'm gonna put my favorite topping on, which not everybody likes, but I love, and that is Kalamata olives. No pits. I'm just gonna throw a couple on. If you have some fresh basil, you can throw some fresh basil on. Okay, so now I have my pizza assembled. Give you a glance at how she looks. And I'm gonna go put it in the oven and bake it. It's at 450 degrees. Should cook in about 10 minutes. It should go pretty quick. And I'm gonna try and video myself putting the pizza in the oven on the stone. Okay, so the pizza is now going onto the pizza stone. And there she goes. All right, it's been about 12 minutes and I think my pizza is done. I'm gonna take it out of the oven. And here we go. First homemade pizza. I look forward to seeing yours.